unfolded on space and just sort of flattened out for the sake of the presentation. So we conducted interviews with apartment occupants, in this case on Fuming Road, which is what this diagram is showing. Shanghai basically gave us this site for such an understanding of how furniture, when it's sort of co-opted or used by an end user, behaves differently from the way we might typically understand it. So in this case, we went on to develop the plan, or if you like, the three-dimensional drawing on the left is the original condition where all the cabinetry was found in its original location. And then the diagram on the right shows how we reconceive it for a client, in this case a sort of single occupant of the flat. The end result, of course, is an experiment through a sort of systematic use of materials and embedding modern or sort of like contemporary programs into it with like air conditioning, storage, built-in furniture, etc., etc. A few years ago, there was another experiment. In this case, we were asked to introduce two installations, one to the left, to the right, the yellow objects, for two occupants in a loft in New York City. And this clearly was another take on the idea of partition, if you like, a wall, a makeshift piece of furniture that then gave new programs and new definitions to habitation. And last year, in an exhibition, there was again sort of an iteration of this idea of the Shanghai partition. And in this case, we reflected on beyond what was sort of very easily associated as a sort of post 9/11 project, prison, and how one might reflect on the limitation of freedom and space. We married that to our work or our understanding of the congestion in China, and then how everything was increasingly made in China. And what evolved was basically a prototype that was a partition in a cell, and that was clearly made in China. And the last, but not least, the idea of a patch. In this case, this was a work that was carried out in Shenzhen and Dongguan. We found urbanism that was comprised of patches. A patch is a plot of land that fills in a gap of planned urbanism. It is land, though not all land is a patch, but a patch is a post-pastoral landscape. It has clearly defined boundaries, and it lies in an indeterminate scale between urban, landscape, and human. It is made up of pixels. A patch precedes infrastructure and at the same time triggers the construction of architecture. A patch initiates planning. It directly relates to lifestyle. A patch acts cumulatively and in combination with other patches to increase programmatic possibilities, and it sets itself apart and has a view of its context. So here we run through a series of sort of patch analysis of different situations, different cities, different conditions that we encounter. Of course, then we look more closely at, I guess, Shenzhen, as Jiang Jun had enlightened us about, is one of these quick urbanism, instant city built in the flesh. And Mission Hills is in Shenzhen and Dongguan. And we look more closely at how we could find different scales of patches in Mission Hills. And we ended up with a kind of expression of these patches, sort of the thinness of it, the applications of it, and it culminated in an architectural installation in the last Shenzhen, Hong Kong Biennale. So I'll end here, and these are just sort of ramblings, quick insights into how one might conceive of different ways of looking at cities. Thank you.